So younger men have this. Now that doesn't mean you can't pop out of it. If you learn these techniques, you can learn how to open faster and easier, okay? So all I'm trying to say is you notice that a lot of girls are very attracted to older guys. It's always been this way. Ever since I was a kid, high school, I was pissed off. Oh, she's dating this college guy. Then you get to college and finally think, oh, you're going to get the girls. Now they're dating the business guys that are in their 30s and 40s. And you're like, what the hell's going on? Why is she dating that guy? He's 12 years older than her, blah, blah, blah. It's because as you get older, you start to open up. You start to relax. You start to kind of take life at a pace and be more in the present moment. And that makes her mating system want to be with you, okay? So I guess I was talking to David about why some clients don't open up. And I guess ultimately it's because they're in the box and that's all they know. And they think that's the safe space. And now I'm going to give you a real life example, because here's the thing. Inside that box, that's where the fear is, and that's why you're holding the door closed. You're like, no, you're living in a state of fear, and you're narrow. So the problem is you're not conscious of it, right? And as we work through the techniques, you become more and more conscious. There's a lot of things that I'll work you through, like just be aware of, so you feel uptight. Like, yeah, don't try to change it, just be with it, right? So I'll use Abenev as an example. So Abenev, at first he's very leery about this opening up thing, and what is this? I don't know. And eventually he was going through the course, and he popped open one day, and I looked at him and was like, whoa, what's this? I go, that's what I mean. I go, how do you feel? He's like, wow, man, I feel so relaxed and so calm. I was like, okay. And I go, do you like it? He goes, yeah, this is great. I go, hey, let's go get a bite to eat, or let's take a break. And he's talking to women and talking to people, cashiers, and everywhere we go, and blah 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 blah. And I've never seen him like, because he's normally really uptight. Kind of, I called him the angry Indian. And he says that in one of the videos. He goes, yeah, that was his nickname for him. He says angry. Well, anger is really a defense of trying to hide your fear. I'm not in fear. I'm angry. And so it's like you're holding the iron gates closed, and you wonder, well, why can't I meet any women? Well, geez, I wonder why. Maybe you need to open up, and as women say, become more approachable. Because this whole serious thing, analyzing things, being Mr. Logical all the time, it's not approachable. It's not a comfortable energy to be around. Nobody wants to be analyzed. People just want you to receive them as they are, and to not judge them, and to be okay with that. Okay, that is the goal to work on more and more and more. So, and the funny thing is that, have you ever heard the phrase, oh God, how does it go? I haven't heard it in years. For every finger that you point, there's 5 fingers pointing back. That is a true phrase. Okay, there's something I wanted to, I'm going to actually put this in there. I'm going to read it off right now. That is a very true phrase, and here's what I mean. When you judge others, it sucks them into that judgmental energy, that tight forehead, and it puts you into the judger part of your brain, the analytical part of your brain. And now you're judging and analyzing everything. So I just got off the phone with David, and as I said, as you do those exercises that I've taught you, I go, how do you feel? He goes, I feel great. I go, when you go to work like that, what's your experience like? He goes, well, what do you mean? I go, all right, when you're closed, in doing that tight, narrow, pointy thing, he calls it the pointy thing. I go, what happens? He goes, I don't know. I get you have irritations with people, and then they have irritations with you, and then there's some disagreements and arguments, and people are kind of mean and stack. He goes, yeah, all the time. I go, but what about when you leave here and for the next couple of days? What is it like? He goes, I don't know. It's just nicer. It's more comfortable. I go, how do people treat you? He goes, honestly, they treat me really good. He goes, it's just a nice experience. I go, what about the customers? He goes, yeah, it's a nice experience. So now I'm going to read this thing off. So what I'm telling you is that your energy, if you're uptight, it's going to affect the people around you. If you're relaxed, it's going to affect the people around you too. Another thing I learned is that whenever I'm open, people just seem to really get along with me, and things work out really well. So we do create our experiences. Off. Where is it? Come on. Oh, there it is. So you hear this stuff in NLP and Tony Robbins courses, and at first like, that's bullshit, whatever, dude. And here's a phrase I just found. So the moment you accept responsibility for everything in your life is the moment you gain the power to change anything in your life. And that is absolutely true. But a lot of people don't understand it. So like, oh, I don't believe that, or that's bullshit. And that's the reason why I'm saying this, because I felt that way for a long time. And I had read it in Tony Robbins' books. I'd heard it in the seminars. The people at the seminars were saying the same thing. And I'm like, Michael, come on. It's not a coincidence. It's something that you're doing that's drawing that to you or creating that experience. But oh, that's bullshit. Come on, that's people are just mean, and what we'll do is we'll hold on to this belief and generalize, well, people just suck. Or maybe you do. And maybe unconsciously, you're creating that suck energy around you and you have all these sucky experiences. Now, here's what I mean. So, as I was telling David, I noticed something. So, I was one of those people that, even if I didn't believe it, I wanted to find out. That was something that I was very curious. And you hear these wild, outrageous things. Take responsibility for everything in your life, and you'll have the power to change it. And because responsibility means the ability to respond, responsibility. And I was like, whoa, and I started to see that words had actual inherent meanings. The word responsibility literally means, that's why it's ability and respond. It means the ability to respond. That's power. So when you take your responsibility, now you've got power to create your life and to create more of your experiences. Now, I'm not saying in one moment everything changes, because our brains are habitual and we do bad things or negative things over and over and over. No, it's bad things happening. And the same thing with me. For years after going to these seminars and continuing to going to NLP trainings, I kept saying responsibility, take responsibility, it's a good thing. Because as a kid, we're taught, take responsibility, like it's a punishment. And that's how our parents meant it, and our teachers. They weren't being nice. They weren't trying to say, come on, man, be responsible, because it's the ability to respond. They never said that. That wasn't even their intention. They connected this negative meaning to this very positive thing, responsibility. So I went through an awakening when I was 20 years old, and I was searching out to find someone, because I was the typical Christian in the box, and got to follow the rules, which is left brain. The right brain is the spiritual brain, the creative, emotional, spiritual brain. And I was looking like, it's like, what? This is awesome. What is this? This is amazing. I feel so loving and compassionate and all this amazing thing. But the people are in the box, like, get back in the box, get back in the box. And that's what I was telling David. They will tell you the most negative things, like, money's the root of all evil. And I go, David, that is not what the Bible says. It says the love of money, as if you make it your God, above your health, above family, above friends, above God, above goodness, above intelligence. That'll screw things up. But money is just like air. And yet you never judge air. You never think, oh, I feel guilty for breathing so much air. Money is just money. And one thing that I used to say in church was, money doesn't do anything. And I was up on the pulpit and I put the money down and I said, it's not doing nothing. It's what you do with it. The moment you accept I'm reading right now. The moment you accept responsibility for everything in your life is the moment you gain the power to change your life. So you could say, well, that money made me go and buy those drugs. That money made me go and do this bad thing and buy junk food or whatever, or poison or drugs. The money didn't make you do it. You did it. But if you have a belief that you're not responsible, that you don't want to have any responsibility, you're going to go down a shit life. But if you have the belief that you are what you do with the money, it's your choice, all of a sudden you have power. And all of a sudden it's like, well, I can buy food with this. I can buy healthy food. I can get an education. I can buy a book to read to develop myself. I can go to a seminar. All these really good things. So this has to do with everything. And I'm going to lead more and more and more into why I keep reading. I'm going to read it again. The moment you accept responsibility for everything in your life is the moment you gain the power to change anything in your life. And here's what I mean. So I went to this club in the city called The Matrix. This was early on. I think late 20s, maybe early 30s. It was pretty early on. And I was trying to learn this whole pickup artist thing, like how do you pick up on women, blah blah blah, reading all these books and going to seminars, and at that point I was already an NLP trainer, so I had a huge chunk of tools to use. And there's something that I kept hearing in the pickup artist community, and didn't understand it. Like no one ever taught it in a way that I understood. It's like, what, they go, girls give you a shit test and they're gonna test you, and they don't explain it. They don't break it down. And I'm gonna break it down for you right now. I break it down much more in my book and in my coaching. But I realized they don't even. They're just. When you're in your analytical brain, the logical brain, you're on the outside. My course puts you on the inside to experience it from the inside. Now you know from experience, not from, she does this, so I do that, and I notice it has this reaction on her. You're still doing stuff to them, like she's a lab test. We're not doing lab tests here. That's not what we do. All right? So I'll give you the example, and that's what really made me realize that the moment you accept responsibility for everything in your life is the moment you gain the power to change anything, okay? Now watch this. So I was pretty intimidated going to clubs. I never liked alcohol, that whole alcoholic scene. Yeah, I had parties in high school and stuff like that, but I really didn't like bars, and I didn't like being around drunk people. So the one thing about the Matrix, though, it was a classy place. It was an upper level place. People dressed nice. The drinks were super expensive, so that shows you it's a nicer place. No, I'm just kidding. So I was there, and because it was an upper level place, there was a level of intimidation. And so I was getting pretty good at opening conversations with women and talking and doing all this stuff that I've been developing for years. But there was one thing that I hadn't learned yet, and it was when women will test you, okay? And this caught me completely out of the blue. It was like, whoa! It was like 180. Whoa! What happened? Like your truck, your semi truck jackknifes automatically going down the freeway. Like, whoa! What happened? So I was with a client, and we went in there, and we opened the conversation. He's looking at me, he's smiling, like, wow, this stuff really works. I'm like, yeah, I told you, it's just gain rapport, do these things, blah blah blah. And the cool thing was these were really beautiful girls, and they were I want to say wholesome girls, down to earth girls, really pretty, very sweet. And that was the thing. They were very kind. And I kind of felt a sense of relief, like, wow, cool, this is awesome. Made some great girls. This is, I really like this girl. I think I want to, get to know her and spend time with her and go, get her number and all that stuff. So everything was going well. My client was talking, and we were like right next to each other, girls in front of us. And out of nowhere, the girl that I'm talking to, she looks at my client, and when he's talking to her friend, she goes, oh. And I'm like, oh, what? Like, it was out of nowhere. Like, what's going on here? And I didn't really think much of it. And then he's talking a little more. She goes, okay. Oh, I see. And he looks at her and goes, you see what? She goes, oh, you guys, you're friends. And he looks at her and he's like, yeah, we're friends. And like it made no sense at all. She goes, no, you guys are friends. And I was like, what? And I'm thinking, oh shit. And my adrenaline starts going. And he goes, what are you talking about? And I'm looking at him like, shut up. And she goes, you guys are like friends, lovers. And he just got beat red and just embarrassed. And I got this adrenaline, this, I want to say anger / shame. I think it was embarrassment and shame. It was anxiety and shame is what it was. And it just really started to build and build. And I remembered something I learned in the NLP training. And it was, it was a couple things. There's hold the frame, there's own it, and there's another one. I can't remember the name of it, but that's what I did. And what it was whenever you have an energy come up, if you try to lock it down and push it down and control it, it builds and builds and builds, and it'll erupt, right? So for the first time in my life, I'd been hearing all these things. The moment you accept responsibility for everything in your life is the moment you gain the power to change anything in your life. And to just, here's what it is, to go with it. That's what it was, to go with it. You hear these things. Bruce Lee talks about it and how to be water and don't be the brick wall, because people can hit the brick wall, but if you become like fog, they can't hit nothing. And an experience I had in kickboxing with my coach, which I'm going to write down. Hold on. Very important. Kickboxing coach. He was patting me out. And I know you've heard this one. I think it's Aikido, where I get mixed. I sometimes say Jiu-Jitsu, but it's Aikido, where they say go with their motion. Okay, so Tony Robbins got up on stage or was on stage, and he goes, "Who's the biggest guy there?" Some big guy comes up. He goes, "Here, grab my arm." He goes, "I want you to pull me around the room. I want you to show you how powerful you are." Because he goes, "You're not as powerful as you think you are." And this dude's pretty freaking big, dude. He's a bodybuilder, and he grabs Tony and he goes, "I'm gonna jerk him around." And he starts to pull, but Tony went with it. And Tony's, no, come on, pull me around. And what Tony's just walking right with along, and this guy's like, he goes, "Now stop." And the guy goes, "What?" I go, "Tell me the truth." He goes, "Did you feel powerful?" He goes, "No, I felt weak." He goes, "It was weird." He goes, "No, let's do it again." The guy tried again, and Tony goes, "See, when you go with the energy, it flows. And that's what you want to create." I had a real life experience with this. I was getting ready for a national championship fight in the United States. And my coach is Jacob Stidstrand. I might throw the picture in there just for the hell of it. He's a world famous guy, cut man, one of the best, not one of, probably the best, top 3 in the world cut man. And he was cut man in the UFC for years, and he's been in every almost professional fighter's corner. I'm talking about the big guys like the Tysons and De La Hoya. I don't think it was actually De La Hoya's cut man, but a lot of really famous fighters. So I was getting ready, and the week before the fight, about 3 to 4 days, all what you do is what's called down train to let your body recuperate. So you just come in and you pad out for 20 minutes and you stretch for about 15 to 30 minutes, and that's it. And you go home. You don't run. You don't do push-ups. You do nothing. You just want to let your body recuperate because you've been training for like 8 weeks, like really, and you've exhausted yourself. So you want your glycogen and energy and adrenaline to build back up, okay? So it was Wednesday. I think the fight was on Saturday, and he's patting me out, and I'm throwing punches, and and what happened was, normally when you pad someone out, you here's the pad, you move it forward about an inch or two, and you meet him, and it causes an impact, right? So I'm throwing punches, but what he was doing was he was leaving it there, and he's leaving his hand really weak, and letting it go like that, and I felt totally weak. I was like, man, whew, hold on, let me shake it out. He goes, all right, come on, Mikey. And he told Randy, one of my sparring partners, he's a world champion, and he told Randy what he was doing, and I was just like, and it's just like he was doing that, and it makes you feel weak. But if someone holds it firm, it feels like you're strong because you got resistance. You don't want to do resistance. That's the mistake. In life in general, basically. In martial arts teaches a lot of this too. And in boxing, you want to go with his punches. You don't want to let him punch you in the face. You want to go with it. And they call that rolling, or you roll with the punch. So if he hits you, you go with it, and it gets rid of like 70% of the impact. It really lessens it. All right. So these teachings are taught everywhere. Buddha, Jesus, Bruce Lee, boxing coaches, Aikido. It's taught everywhere. But most people don't apply it to their social life. So I'm trying to, and I go, Coach, I think I'm sick. There's something wrong with me, man. I don't know. Maybe we should call the fight, because I was feeling like, man, something's not right here. What the hell? And he's, I'm just fucking with you, Mikey. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, I'm doing this. And I was like, oh man. And so then he held it, pop, 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 and then I felt powerful again. He goes, Mikey, you're fine, man. You're gonna win. And so I felt a lot better, and I felt my power back, blah, blah, blah. But power can be an illusion, a real illusion. Especially in kickboxing and in sports like that, you've got to understand what real power is. You talk to a professional baseball player, and or anyone. I mean, I played baseball for many years. Whenever I hit a home run, it didn't feel powerful at all. It was like it was just like crack, and it's the fluidity of the motion that gives the power. And that's what a lot of guys don't understand. You listen to professional baseball players like, no, when I hit that home run, it just crack, it's just a crack. But as a guy, you want to feel the impact because that's power. That's actually your brakes. You're pushing on the brakes and it feels powerful, but you're not going anywhere. Anytime I hit a ball and I cracked it, it didn't go very far. I'm like, damn, I gotta try harder next time. But then there's times for some reason you swing just to hit it, and you do it just right. It's just fluid motion. And so what you're doing is you're taking the brakes off, right? See, when you're in a Corvette or Ferrari going 80 miles down the road, it doesn't feel powerful. It's those kind of cars, you're just humming along because there's no resistance because they're such finely built cars. Now, for another car, you're going to feel resistance at 80 miles an hour, if it's only got like 150 horsepower or whatever. But a car that's got 500, 600, 450, whatever, horsepower, it's smooth. And so you don't feel powerful. So you want to really rev it up and feel more power, right? And then you feel it. Well, that's because there's more resistance. And that's the illusion. The illusion is less resistance is more power. So I'm in this club, and these girls are saying this embarrassing thing, and my client's turning beet red, and I got this. It was anger and shame because I was mad because here I am trying to help this guy, and he's kind of just breaking in. And she's throwing this really bad thing at him. And I started to get this embarrassment and shame, and what do I do? And I remembered in NLP, they just kept saying, go with the flow. Like the river. Don't fight the river. You're never going to stop the river. It's not going to happen. If you do, it's going to be massive resistance, okay? And that could break. It's the breaking that most people experience in life when they're saying, I'm having a breakdown. Tony Robbins says, you're not having a breakdown, you're having a breakthrough. Because you're letting the energy flow through, and now you're starting to get movement. And Bruce Lee says, be like water, my friend. You want to keep on flowing. If you are stagnant, your body gets tight, your muscles get tight, you start to get arthritis, and you start to get all, and you can't move in life. You got to move. I know that personally, because when I got ran over by the car, I had broken bones everywhere. I knew I had to get moving. I was in bed for 2 or 3 weeks, maybe even a month, and I couldn't really do nothing, so I just breathed. I moved my hands. I did anything. I moved my ankles, all right? And I knew that I had to get my blood flowing, get the oxygen because it takes out negative stuff and anything. And at one point, I just walked from one end of the living room to the other. And I just kept, even no matter how much it hurt, I just kept moving. And that's a big reason why I can move and I can jump and I can, do and stretch and the things I do now. I make myself stretch no matter how much pain I'm in. Because overall, it makes it easier, gives you fluidity. Okay. So I'm at this club, and this girl is embarrassing the crap out of my client. And I'm getting this shame building up and anxiety. And I thought, you know what, Mike? All your life you have fought it. All your life you tried to push it down. You tried to control it, control your fear. I thought, here you are, this NLP trainer, personal development coach, and you've been training in this stuff, and you've heard this a million times, and yet this was the one thing I didn't do. And I said, fuck it. And instead of trying to act like I wasn't getting embarrassed, which they would have seen because I would have gotten uptight and my body would have been more mechanical and gone into my left brain, which would have turned her off, I just let go. I completely and totally let go. And what I noticed was, the reason I'm going down here because it was in my belly and solar plexus area, it dispersed. It was just like when you take sugar and you put it in water and it dissolves, it disperses. It was like I couldn't see it, but I felt this dispersion. Now here's what happened. Her energy dispersed. And then she totally relaxed and she smiled and she reached out and touched me. And I was like, what the fuck? And then all of a sudden he relaxed. He took a deep breath and she relaxed and we all started laughing. And the girl literally reached out and hugged me and she leaned on me and she clung to me. And I was like, what the fuck? What just happened? The thing though is I could feel the energy. Okay, I use the word energy. I'll say it this way because a lot of guys, energy, what's this energy crap? Okay, that's just a different language. I felt my anxiety disperse. It dissolved. And in my stomach, my solar plexus area, the anxiety was gone, the fear was gone. She felt that, and then her anxiety went away, and then she melted into me. The moment you accept responsibility for everything in your life is the moment you gain the power to change anything in your life. Do you understand? So that is when I began to learn that we are creating our experiences out in the world. So one of the things I learned is when I have that linear and neurological brain, that's the worker brain. You should apply it to math, business, and science in certain situations. But in social situations, your eyes should be open. You should be internal. You should have this open flowing energy, not clamping down. Now, another experience I had was I was really playing with this whole like going with the flow thing instead of trying to control my emotions and allowing my anger to be there. So if there's anger there, I don't fight it, try to make myself be happy. I just allow it to be. If there's anxiety, I don't try to change it. See, that's the thing. If you try to change it, try to control it, it makes it worse and build and build and build. You get more anxiety, you get more fear. If you let it go and just, here's the key though, have an open awareness of it. Instead of locking down and trying to control it, you just relax. And even though it's still tight and uptight, just be aware of it. Just notice that. That is going to allow you to disperse the energy. But here's the thing, you don't disperse it. And that's the same thing. A guy's come in, what do I do to her to make her like me? What do I say to her? How do I make her like me? I go, you don't. You don't. You do these techniques. I'm feeling really comfortable with yourself and liking yourself. And then she will like you because it's the energy that women like and they feel comfortable with. And that's a concept that a lot of guys have a real challenge with. They're like, no, no, no. It's about things. I got to buy her flowers. I got to take her to dinner. I got to pay for dinner. I got to have a nice car. I got to have this thing. No, man. That's nice, but that's not what melts a woman's heart. So I think you're seeing the difference because in the pickup artist community, they're saying, oh, you got to do the shit test. You know, she's going to test you. And that's what these girls did because the thing is, here's the funny thing. Just as we were talking for about 10, 15 minutes, 10, 12 minutes. And I was like, wow, these are some really cool girls. Because normally girls are all, they pull games on you, testing you. And in the pickup artist community, they're all talking about this shit test. And that itself was negative. But I realized they were coming from this analytical, well, if she does this, you do this. Step 1, step 2, which is very linear, logical, thing. And then she'll react. And sometimes they do. But you won't understand what's going on. You'll understand when the energy disperses, and then see it's not a logical understanding, it's an energetic understanding. When you have these experiences by having faith and just allowing yourself to let go, that's when you're like, oh, I see what's going on. She's trying to see that if she pokes me, that I just stay relaxed, that I just stay who I am. And as I said earlier in the video, she's trying to see if you are comfortable with yourself. That's what a woman is looking for. If you flip out, if you get all uptight, nervous, if you try to fake it, or if you try to start pointing and you're being a bitch, and excuse my language, she's gonna be like, okay, he failed the test. I don't want to date this guy. This guy's too uptight for me. Because women want to feel relaxed. I've repeated that in all my videos. Because a lot of guys, they literally go to clubs and they take energy drinks, Red Bull, or there used to be this beer. I don't think they outlawed it, but there should be these beers and mixed drinks that had energy drinks in a can with alcohol, and they're all like, all like doing the linear thing. And guys, don't drink, don't do caffeine. Stay relaxed. It helps her to relax. And I'm gonna use this word like the girl did. She literally relaxed into me. It was the weirdest thing. Like she just like. It was like she was drawn to me. I didn't think she even did. I didn't think she realized what she was doing. So let's see if there's something else. I think that's pretty much it. That really is a good idea of what you're going to learn on my course and how to do it. For now, for the guys, get the book Crack the Female Code. Ideally, get the ultimate package because it goes over different segments. There's different books in there to help you understand different things of what we're doing. But at least get the book Crack the Female Code because when you come in and take the training, your brain will have an idea of where we're going with this before, because otherwise it can be an overwhelming experience. Hey, ladies, get the book Why Men Just Don't Get It, and then get the follow-up book, Every Woman's Battle: The Need for Love and Emotional Fulfillment. That will help you to understand men a lot better. Hey, this is Mike Colleen at MikeColleen.com. Getting stuffy all of a sudden. That's MikeKollin.com. Go to my website, buy some products, take my courses. I'll see you soon. Bye.